The webinar is broadcasting to the attendees. Now we are getting live. Can we pause the video, please? Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for those of you who are still not yet at noon time. My name is Wael Dalati, and I'm the Territory Sales Manager for Fluke Networks in the Middle East, Africa, Turkey region. Joined in this call as well as our regular webinar with my two colleagues, Werner Heeren and Salah Amara, who will be also assisting in this call with answering some of the questions and answers and coming back to us with different setups or help during the conference call that we're having today. The topic that we're launching today and we're going to talk about is the Linkware Live. Linkware Live is our software as a service solution that allows you to integrate your testers in the field to the cloud and change a little bit some of the standard processes that you do in the business in order to improve your standard work and improve your performance on site. So we're gonna go today through the different topics, and we're gonna go and focus on how or which pain points we can that can cause us to waste time today, and how we can solve them with Linkware Live. How does a software as a solution improve the situation with the minimum change of the current workflow, knowing that today we are facing the pandemic of the corona or the COVID-19 that allows us to, forces us to do social distancing and maintain a minimum distance between people, avoid direct touch with people, and some of us cannot come to offices, so we have to stay on site and we have to change a little bit some of the processes that we are working on in order to improve our day-to-day business. And at the end, how a full implementation of a software as a solution in our software as a service as Fluke Networks with the Linkware Live can help everything and change things for the good for your organization. So before we start, I would love to ask my colleagues to share with you a first question that we want you to help us answer, if you don't mind, to get some guidance. How do you know about Linkware Live? Have you been using Linkware Live? Some people have touched base with it. Some people have not used it. Some people don't know anything about it. So it's time for us to know and interact with you to see how we can help you during this webinar to better understand this system and the software that we offer, which is a free of charge, has come with our Versiv platform, and you can use it to the best you can to optimize your workflow in a better way. So I see a good traction so far. We are almost 50% of the responses, which is excellent. Thank you very much for your answers. It's always good to see how we can help you with that one. Nevertheless, if you still have any questions after this webinar, you will see our emails shared in our question and answers or in some parts of the communication chat. And feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you so that we can directly answer some of your challenges on site and how we can resolve it with Linkware Live. So we're almost 70%. I think we'll give it another half a minute to get things going. So from the majority of what we see now, that some of you don't have an interaction or don't have a knowledge of what is Linkware Live, which is the intention today is to share with you that piece of information today. The other percentage is I don't know Linkware Live, or I know Linkware Live, but I've never used it before. That's the time where you need probably to look into considering and reconsidering the use of Linkware Live. We have some interesting videos that we will share, and we will be able to hopefully convince you to move forward with that. So I think we're almost there with the answers, but that's where we see that majority, I would say more than 60–70% of the people here are not too familiar with Linkware Live. So I think it's good to start. I see some few people have used it regularly, which is, thank you very much for your continuous use of this service. I think you know more than us how much this is helping you and helping the business. And some of you also have used it randomly. Please, after this presentation, I would love to convince you to keep using it on a regular basis. So thank you for the poll. and I will move to the next slide. Sorry. So for the daily life of a technician, we have shared this video last year, but I would love to also come back to you with it. It's a nice video to show you what we face regularly in the field. So after a long day of testing, and could be that every day we face the same challenge. We finish a day, and if we are stuck in a country or in a traffic that takes us an hour or two to reach back to the office, it's all a wasted time from getting the results into our system. So with Versiv today and with Linkware Live, we are able to synchronize and upload those results from the tester, as you see now, with a simple click on the tester to the cloud, and before we leave the site, so that our colleagues in the office can have a look at the results and can see what's happening in a peace of mind, with a peace of mind, and in a matter of a minute or two. So the intention here is to make things a lot easier than makes it harder. Staying in a traffic is not good. Being stuck for 2-3 hours, you reach late, you reach tired. We want to eliminate that. Make your links, make your tests, upload it to the cloud, and then get your peace of mind when driving. No rush, take your time to go back home or go back to the office. I would need to ask also my colleagues to have a second poll. I need also to share with you some insights. What are the top problems that you face on sites and eventually result in wasted hours of testing? So this is an area where you can look at it. We sometimes face problems using wrong configuration. We face wrong cable IDs, and we try to test, and we see, oh, it's wrong, we need to test it again. What are the mistakes that you usually believe it's commonly happening around you, so that we can also share with you what we have done on a global scale with a survey to see if you guys are aligned with our general survey that we have. So things are popping up rapidly. I see setting up the tester is leading now. Wrong cable ID is second. It's interesting how to see the different behaviors. Depends on each contractor, each installer, each consideration, each person. Sometimes we make mistakes without knowing that we're making that mistake, so we need to identify that as well. So things are almost 60%. We're almost there. We allow them another half a minute, if you don't mind, to finish the poll. So still, we see the mistakes in setting up the tester, the leading one. 56% of the problems comes with setting up the tester. And this is many times I've seen it in the field. I've been walking between sites. I've been doing some issues. I think this is some of the interesting situations we see. And nevertheless, we don't forget other considerations, which we will talk in a bit. So I think we should be okay to stop the poll. I think we to be able to allow us to continue. So again, looking at this, getting mistakes in setting up the tester led by 58%. Getting the wrong cable ID, it's another nightmare that we see. And wrong copper cable limit. How many times we see that? And I'll leave my update in the next slide. So I minimize this and we go to the next one. So we've done a voice of customer, which we call it a survey, to around 800 installers around the world. And we asked them if they are doing sites above 1,000 links, what are the common mistakes that they face in the field and how many hours those mistakes can cause to them in the field. So the first one was to troubleshoot copper. So if I have a failing link, how to troubleshoot copper? It takes time because sometimes the technician might not be knowing the whole details of how to troubleshoot. You need a little bit time to wait for somebody who knows more about the tests to identify problems. In fiber, we see negative loss complaints, and in cabling standards, we should not allow negative losses. Consultants and end user does not accept negative losses on fiber. And most of the time we figure out that those problems come from a wrong test referencing or probably some bad launch cables that we have. And then we move on to try to fix those problems, and they take time as well. Wrong fiber limit. Now in fiber, things are changing rapidly between the relaxed limits of ISO in 11801 or TIA, where the losses per connector or loss per splice are more relaxed and less demanding than today's application. When we want to look at 40 gigabit and 100 gigabit application, they need 1.5 dB. And if we cannot control that limit in our measurement, we will not be happy. And that's where we see sometimes wrong limits on our testers. Evaluating OTDR trace. How many of us spend hours and hours just trying to understand why this link is not performing nicely, or why I'm having this cost, or why I'm having that, or why I'm having that? A lot of hours are being spent, and that's again on a smaller portion of links. What if we have thousands and thousands of fiber links that we're testing? Those numbers will grow in an exponential way. Setting up the copper test, that's one of the answers of the polls. Imagine you go for a site, you mistakenly configure the tester to test Cat6, and your site is Cat6a. So you test 1,000 link, you happily finish the test, and then you end up having to probably retest the site if that goes extreme. Or sometimes the technician is at the site, well, I'm waiting for my boss to come to configure the tester. I'm waiting for the call from my project manager to help me configure the tester in the right way. And all that is a waste of time. Consolidating results. So imagine you have a bigger site where you have multiple testers in the field. And what do you do when you want to consolidate, when you want to club all those test results together into one area? What should you do? How do you do it? And collecting data takes time as well. So we're trying to help you here see how many hours a small things can drag into many, many hours of losses. And then incorrect cable ID is reaching to the top 2. So you test, and then all of a sudden you figure out after coming back to the office that, oops, all my 100 link that I tested, I put cable 1, cable 2, cable 3 has to be changed into a completely different one. And then chaos can happen. And then wrong copper limit. This is where, again, it's coming back to the, am I doing the right setup? Am I doing the right TIA limit or ISO limit? What do I need to test? And hours of waste are being spent here. So we need to make sure that we are on the right track in understanding how we can control and configure our testers. And we are going to tackle those 4 highlighted areas into the table today, where we can easily configure those into the project planning. So when we have a right and correct project planning from the beginning of the project, before we start testing, we eliminate at least those 4 highlighted in yellow, and the remaining highlighted in white, we will be able to help in the later part of the presentation to tackle those up. So we have defined in our process a flow chart of how to do a proper copper testing and fiber testing. For us here, what we're seeing here is the flow chart of how we recommend the procedure to test fiber testing. And one of the very first things is how to create a project, is understanding your project, whether it is copper or fiber. You need to understand what is happening and who is the most knowledgeable person in the project normally and knows what limit needs to be tested, what is the site condition, what cables we're testing, what are we having on site, what does the customer need from a testing limit. All that is in the hand of the project manager. So we need to help you from a project management perspective, properly define the tester before things can go wrong on the site to eliminate again those wasted hours. So how we do it? We do it actually with the project manager today. The project manager knows the cable limits, the cable types, the cable ID, and usually it's either the planner or the project manager. So technician in the field normally follow what the project manager instruct to do. and we don't expect the technician to know all the details because he didn't have access to the specification of the project. Now, even in fiber, as I said before, going into high-speed application is giving us even tougher time. So we cannot, in some cases, do the test on the ISO or TIA limits. We might need to go into the custom limits. And those folks who are expert in the fiber, they know very well what does it mean custom limits. So we need to change what is the loss of the connector, what is the loss of the fiber cable and the splice, and do that into a configuration of the tester. And again, who knows about this is the expert in the company, from a project manager or the planner. Now, what we do here with Linkware Live or software from our side is on the cloud. We connect our laptop with a basic browser, Chrome or Firefox or any other browser you use, and you create all what you need from a limit, cable IDs, and project information, and you configure that into the browser. And then the browser will send this information to the tester when the tester asks. So the tester needs to trigger Linkware Live. Linkware Live, show me, do I have a new configuration? Yes, you have. No, you don't have. If I have a new configuration, download me the configuration. Now, after doing the test, I need to upload the results. The tester will shoot back the results to the Linkware Live. This is the way that we recommend when we're doing the Linkware Live implementation. But nevertheless, we might have a tester in the field that could have been configured, and then we shoot the data to Linkware Live. So Linkware Live is an interactive platform between the field, means the testers, and the project manager or the planners back in the office. Now, what we configure on the tester, since many of you have used the Versiv platform, you know that we have the Projx feature where you can configure the whole project that you are testing, from operator to the test setup, where you select the test limit, you select the cable IDs, you create the cable IDs, and then you have a complete access over one screen. What do you need to test? Is it a copper test? Is it a fiber test? Is it a basic fiber? Or light source power meter or loss test sets? Or is it an extended in OTDR? Or are you going to do end phase grading, where you can take pictures of the connectors of fiber, grade it, and store the results in the tester? All those configurations can be set up and be done on the tester. Now, the beauty of Versiv, that it can handle up to 100 projects with multiple configurations. So you can have one project where it has copper and fiber and all the different cable IDs, and you can have 100 projects stored on the tester. And guess what? You have enough storage also for the test results to be stored on the tester. Unlike our so good, so I would say farewell to our old DTX that is not anymore in support, not anymore in production. It used to have only one configuration. So every time you need to change, you need to reset the whole configuration, change the configuration from every move to move. While on the Versiv, we have the 100 projects where you allow the technician, when you move between project to project, to change simply the project with a fingertip, and then done. You are set to go for the next project. Now, what do we mean by multiple projects? We mean by having configurations of all different tests that we have or projects. Each project has its pass and failing links with all the details. And as well, you can configure those details not only on the machine. And what we see here and what we are used to test, or what we used to configure on the field, now you can have the same feeling by configuring it in the cloud. So rather than having this setup being configured in the field, you have the power now to do it on the cloud and send it to the tester, so that the technician and the people in the field avoid making mistakes. And as you said, and as you saw before, the copper limits, cable IDs are most of the common mistakes that people have. Sometimes we don't hear proper words, or we miss some characters between the cable IDs, and we have a complete chaos in how we configure the tester. So what do you do if you could track your certification? So you will have access to a mobile phone now, where you can see the results. So you can have quick updates. What are you seeing, even on your mobile, even on your laptop or your tablet? whichever medium is on a browser again. So it's not on an application. So it's an application-free system. You can see the progress of the site. So you can see what could be the test limit that was used. Is this cable, is this site supposed to be using Cat6 FUTP and Cat6A, Cat6 TIA permanent link, or is something else? So what do we do here? Am I on the right track? Is my team doing the right job in the field? That's a way to explore it. Cable IDs. You can check quickly, is my team doing the right job? Is they are following the cable ID that are meant for the project or not? All that also from the ease of your browser, from your phone, from your tablet, or from your PC. Now, when things goes wrong, we are always here to help. And that's where Fluke Networks, we are always the call for the rescue. And I'm gonna share with you a lovely video that also, this is a consideration where like a team have done a job after 3 weeks of tests, not going to the site, and then the tester is in the car, and guess what? After 3 weeks, what can go wrong? Lots of things. And now these people has to drive a couple of hours to reach back to the office. So imagine how much time you don't have access to your test results. If it is 2 or 3 weeks, and plus the time to reach to the office, you have no access, and then things can go shows wrong. That means you have wasted 2-3 weeks of testing, and you have to redo the test again. And many vendors have been facing these kind of dilemmas. We've seen warranty claims being rejected. Why? Because the tests were not being followed properly. Then, what if you have a project where you have multiple testers, and then you have your team coming back to the office, and then the project manager asks, okay, I need the test of project 1. And guess what? You don't know which tester have done the project 1, and then you end up in a situation like these guys here. They come back to the office with multiple testers, and now try to figure out where is the tester, which project was there, and is that tester carrying all the test results that you need, or it is scattered between multiple testers. All this creating this uncertainty and the waste of consolidation of the results that we are talking about. How do we control that? And without having a system that can help consolidate those results on the cloud, we will face similar situation to those two guys being stuck, knowing where to go and how to do it. If you remember the old days, or sometimes some people might have seen it even in the current days of the Versiv, what if something goes wrong with the tester? What if the memory card, the chip that has been inserted in the tester in the old DTX or the other folks in the business is lost? What do you do? What happens if by mistake you deleted test results or deleted a project? It can happen. We're human. We're bound to make mistakes. So how do you deal with that? With that, if you follow the Linkware Live and you follow the process of a cloud-based solution, you will be able to upload and continuously upload your project information to the cloud so that you can have the right access to what you see on the cloud. So whatever happens in the test in the field, you're safe, your results, your probably 1 month of testing is on the cloud without being wasted. If you have any problem with the tester, it's fine, but you have the results. So better lose one thing rather than losing everything. Hopefully not, but that's a way of an experience that we have seen in the field. And I love this situation where like, yeah, I've seen it myself and I've been experienced it myself many years back. I will not mention names, but I've had that situation with a customer where I got a call from the customer telling me, well, I have a serious problem. I said, what is your problem? I said, yeah, I have a truck who went over my tester. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you serious? I said, yeah, my tester is crashed. A truck came over the tester. So a similar incident happened to what you will see here in the video, is that people are happy, technician was happy to finish after a long day in a hot summer in Dubai or in anywhere else in the region. And like, yeah, man, that's 50 degrees. I need to get back home. I need to get AC in my car. I need to get everything back. And like, he forget the tester on the top of the car. And then he moved. And then the tester, while he speeds up, flew from the car, and then the truck behind it simply moved on the tester, and the tester was crashed. And we ended up having no other reason but to buy a new tester. And knowing what? He had to retest the whole project, and the project was having a special permissions, and that special permission requires him to have also some potential penalties. So having Linkware Live as a solution is important. Now, the last one, which also I love, I don't know if some people have been interacting with Adrian Young. Adrian Young used to be one of our key technical support guys. He's in the product planning now in Fluke Networks. I mean, imagine what if your tester is stolen? You're on the site, your technicians went for a rest, went for lunch break, or left it in the site for some reason or another, or somebody broke into the car and stole the tester. What do you do? If you don't have the results, Linkware Live can help you retrieve the results. And that's the way we can help you see the visibility here. So people ask, okay, Linkware Live sounds good, sounds nice, but how do I deal with it? I mean, how do you connect your tester to the Linkware Live? One of the ways to connect the tester to Linkware Live is to use an RJ45, which is on the tester. If you have a direct connector, if you have a direct wired cabling, or the other one is using, if you're using a Versiv version 1, you can connect an external adapter. So that's a USB adapter, Wi-Fi adapter that can connect to a mobile with a hotspot. So we can use that as a solution. Or if you are using Versiv 2, that means you have the Wi-Fi embedded into the machine. That means you don't need that dongle and you only connect to the Wi-Fi, and here you go. Now, the most common usage of the people who are using Linkware Live is what we call it the USB stick in the cloud. So they configure the tester, they send the tester in the field, and then they test, and then they come back with the results. So the project is created on the tester, the cable IDs are created on the tester, and then the technicians are testing in the field, link after link, link after link, and after they finish the testing, they decide to upload results to the cloud. So what happens when we upload results to the cloud, to Linkware Live, the project manager in the office will see, okay, I see projects, but I see some warning signs here. What does it mean? It means one thing, that those projects were not created in Linkware Live, were created remotely on the tester, and those projects are considered unknown, unidentified as or unplanned in the Linkware Live system. So if the project managers will allow this or not, he will say, like, okay, let me look at the project. Is it what I'm looking for? Yes, this is my project configuration. I approve the project. If this is my list, and if this is what I was expecting from my technician to do in the field, yes, then he will approve, and then those will enter into Linkware Live naturally. So that's the one wave of using Linkware Live, but that's not really what we are expecting our customers to use in the field. And that's why, since lots of people in the webinar today mentioned that they don't know anything about Linkware Live, I will take the opportunity now to go into a first demonstration where I can show you what does it mean Linkware Live. So Linkware Live, let me go back one step. So if I sign out, you go to linkwarelive.com, and then you sign up for free. You get your email address as a configuration. You create your username, and within a matter of less than a minute, you have a user access to Linkware Live. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna use my login, and I'm gonna enter and show you what are the functionalities. So the moment you log in into Linkware Live, if you are a project manager, and if you have done your configurations and you have done your interaction with the testers before, you will be able to see multiple projects in front of you in the tester. So first, let's look at the first tab is the projects. You will have your list of projects, could be in tens, in hundreds of testers and hundreds of projects that could be live present here. And then you have the status, which are those are active projects, meaning that still ongoing in the field. Some projects have been completed partially, some projects have not been completed, some projects have minor completion, which we'll see later on. And you will be able to see when the date of the project will start, what is the end date of the project, and when is the last update of the project. So you will be able to have this information straight in front of you. Now, there is one lovely thing here, we call it the active button. So the draft, if I look at draft, what does it mean, draft? It's projects that probably I'm aware of. I'm preparing the configuration. I configure those projects and I keep them online till the moment that the project will start. I will change the configuration from being a draft to an active so that it will pop up on the tester. And let's say I finished the project, and then after finishing the project, let's say this team 00, these guys have finished the project. After finishing, what I would do, I would move the project into what we call archived, because I don't want to see too many projects mixed between active and archived. So we move the archived project to another location. So this is a project that has been tested. Let's say it's a 4 links, a small one, but it's just for the example here. So we have tested 4 links and the project is done. I store it in the archive so I can come back to it later on as a project that has been completed. So it's not always popping up in front of me when I'm using Linkware Live. I can have also internal users, people who can help me in the configuration, help me in the business, help me as a technician, help me as a manager. So as we can see here, we can add users, internal users in the organization. I'm having myself as the owner. I'm having my colleague Werner. He's here as also a co-owner with me, which we will, he can remotely, where he is on another side in Dubai, he can log in into my organization, like my organization here, Wild organization, from his access, from his account, and he can go and manage projects on my behalf in my account. And I'm having a technician that could be also, let's say a manager called William, and then the technician could be also having different accesses. Now, another beautiful set that we have is the asset. The asset is showing me now where are my testers, or where was my last scene of my tester. So if I look at this particular Versiv 2, I can see that it is popping up in the area of Dubai Marina. And that's where synchronized, it was synchronized by Werner and was synchronized for, and I can see the software that has been there and was synchronized an hour back. So back 1 hour, Werner has accessed Linkware Live and shared something on Linkware Live, and I could see that from where he was, from the geolocation functionality of the Linkware Live, because of the Wi-Fi, we could spot where he was. If I look at this one, that's my machine that I'm using now. I am staying in Motor City, which is like another 25, 30 kilometers away from where Werner is, and I can see different units where they are in the in my geographical locations. I can go areas by areas. Like say I have this machine which was in different places. So sometimes some machines will show us if they have the location, if the geolocation has been enabled. So you can check on our Linkware Live where are the counties that have the geolocation enabled. And that's a project that we have done testing in the business bay in Dubai as well. So also you can see next to the testers some interesting stuff. You see some green, some orange, and some red. Like some people tell me like, well, what is this multicolored setup you have? Well, frankly, this is the CFP quad. CFP quad, that's the fiber OLTS module that we have. If I look at it, if I hover the mouse, it was telling me it's past the calibration date of 8/9/2014. So that module is out of calibration. But if I that Werner was using, if I click on it, I can see the calibration date has been done on 22 November 2019. So Werner now is using a DSX 8000 that is calibrated, that is due to calibrate after probably 8 months now, for 6 months from now, and then he's good. So on the field, he's good to go. But anything I see, warning, I can check on it. If I can see also the X means that the version of the firmware is wrong or could be a new version. So Werner is using, as we saw earlier on the Versiv, is using firmware version 6.5, which is the correct one that we're using now. But if I look at this machine, it's using version 6.1 build 3. So I need to update my firmware similarly to this one, version 6.1. So this is a way to see things in an interesting way. So if I go back to projects, I will be able to see my whole project list again. And if I need to investigate a particular project, I can go in and look into, let's say, this new life pharmacy. If I click on it, I see that this project has multiple buildings, multiple configurations, multiple tests. I can go into the test setup, see how they are configured, which I will come to it later in the next few slides. And I can see how many links were tested, how many links were not tested, all of that in few mouse clicks as we go through Linkware Live. So I'm gonna move this away a little bit now to continue back to the slide. So what we do now is I'm gonna show you how we create and how we integrate the project management and the technician in the field together. So Wael is the project manager, which I will now show you how to create the tester. And I have William, who is in the field, who has the tester that will receive my configuration that I will configure on the Linkware Live today. So what I will do today is that I will define the project. I will also get the cable IDs that I can extract from any tool that we have today into an Excel comma separated value file. So I can upload those lists one after the other to the cloud. I can shoot those information from Linkware Live to the tester, and the tester will receive those projects configuration in a mouse click. So as you see, once the testers are done, then the tester will upload those results to Linkware Live, and Linkware Live will show the project manager on the cloud as well on Linkware Live what is happening straight in front of him. So we could be distant, like now you will see during the process of our configuration, Werner is staying in a site. Let's say he's on a project 25, 30 kilometers away from me. Social distancing, let's say, that didn't allow him to come to my premise and give me the result. We will see how we will do that configuration straight in. So first, I will do a real life project creation. I will show you in a matter of 1 or 2 minutes how you can create a project in Linkware Live, and you shoot it to the tester, and I will show it to you on the tester live in front of you. So let me go back to the browser. And then there's a nice button here called New Project. So if I click on New Project, I will be asked to name my new project that I have. I will call it today Linkware Live webinar. And I will create it as an active project, not a draft, because now I will go straight into it, because the moment a test or a project is active, that means the tester can see the project when it is synchronizing the data. And I will say that this is Wael Dalati, and then location Dubai, and then let's say description could be anything, but let's say I can put a start date from today, and an end date could be next week. The meaning of setting up a start date and an end date is to show us those dates in front of us on the Linkware Live. So if we pass those dates, those colors turns into a red. So that means I know I'm late. I'm not yet completed with my project. So I need to make my project planning goes faster. Or if there's any triggers, I need to change anything in my project, I need to do it. So I will click on add a new project. The moment I add a new project, it will take me now to, okay, you're adding a new project. What are you testing now? It will start asking me, are you testing, are you planning to test a copper link or a fiber link? So what you see here in front of you is that the cable configurator, the cable type, tells me, what are you going to do? Are you going for a copper test or for the fiber test? Let's say I'm going into a site where I need to test 600 links of copper. And I would say, okay, I need to have copper. What kind of cable? Let's say if it is a Cat6A or Cat7A or Cat8 or Cat5E, or it is a manufacturer type of cable, if you are using, let's say, Comscope or Reichler Massari or bandwidth cabling, any brand that you have is there in the list. But for the ease of use now, let's say I would use Cat6A, and then, sorry, Cat6A, and then I see the generic Cat6A is a UTP or shielded or FUTP. It doesn't matter. For me now, for the sake of the exercise, I'm gonna use the Cat6 SFTP. That means it's a shielded cable. So you can see automatically the shield test has been enabled. And then I will need to configure the name. I will select a generic name that will remain for me for the future test, that this configuration, if I put that configuration, it will automatically pop up the same configuration. I'm gonna select what kind of test that I need to test limit to. If, as you said, if it is Cat6a, if it is TIA, let me say TIA Cat6a, and then it pops up to me, what do you need to test? Permanent link plus all. This is the more advanced and in-depth testing for the cabling. Or are you gonna test TIA with PoE? Are you gonna test channel? Are you gonna test MPTL? And the whole list of different type of tests that are available for us. Let's say for this one, I want to use ISO, EA, and then automatically things pops up in front of me. So I'm gonna use the permanent link of ISO 11801, and then I will add the PoE function to it. I only select it, and I select my MVP. Let's say my MVP is 72. I add my MVP straight in. Sorry, that's 72, and then I'm done. The moment I click on next, my first configuration of the test is done. Now it will take me to another level, which is the cable IDs. So from here, I know for this project, I have, let's say, 600 links. So I have the sequential, I know how the cable will look like. So I can either write it down straight, or I can say import cable ID, where I can go to one of my Excel files that I have, let's say copper here, and then I can click on next, and I'm importing a whole list of cable IDs that will be used for this project. So you can see automatically with a matter of click, I have uploaded 100 cable IDs into this project with a matter of just having the file ready with me. And we can do that with many, many files. And if I need to add more cable IDs, I can click cable IDs, I can add manually, and so on. So if I go back now to the projects, I can see that the webinar, LWL webinar is there, okay? So I can see it active here. I can see the start date and the end date. I can go in and I can see who are the team members. If I need to add new team members, I can click add. I can add William or Werner to that team member. So if I add Werner, he will have access to that project. What are the test setup? Again, as I configured that, it's a Cat6a shielded twisted pair, and the test limit is permanent link with PoE extended tests. And what are the cable IDs? I can add that one. Now, something interesting that I didn't tackle to, we can assign to a sub-project, or I can also share projects to an external people, which we will see in a matter of few minutes. So Werner has been doing some tests. Before I go to Werner, I want to share with you something which is on Linkware Live. I will share with you the screen that I have of my tester. Just a moment. Just putting my password on. So if you allow me for a second. So what we will have is the tester will go automatically into a Wi-Fi network that I have at home now where I'm working. And then it will synchronize with the tester on the cloud. Just a second. Unexpected shutdown of the tester, so sorry for that. For you guys to see what I'm seeing. And hopefully I'm good with that. Yeah. Ready. That's one of the things for security reasons, that if the machine shuts down by itself, that's where we need to re-sign in again into the tester, from the tester to the cloud, to allow us to get into the right access. And I wish my keyboard was faster than this one. Okay, so what we see here is that I will just let that login come in, and then I will redo it thing again. So what we see on the tester is we have a button called sync. When we click on sync, automatically the tester connects to a known Wi-Fi that we connected to. To connect to the Wi-Fi, we go to tools, and then we see networks, where we can connect to the Wi-Fi networks or to the wired network. And then my configuration will be in the sign in. If I look at sign in, that's where I set up my configuration as a username and password, and then I click on sync. So the moment I click on sync, the Versiv will automatically connect to Linkware Live and try to retrieve information about projects that we have online. So now I see that there are projects that have not been synchronized. They are on Wael's organization on the cloud, and I can see the Linkware LW webinar that we have configured just now is on the cloud. So what I do is I select that one, that project, and I can see all the other projects that are between the tester or on the cloud. So I can see, even you see on the bottom here, I have tests on the tester that has not been synchronized yet. For the sake of the webinar today, we will synchronize only the Linkware live webinar. When I click on sync, and I get the data on. So now, from this moment, I'm downloading the configuration that the project manager have configured for me. It's done, as you saw. It's a matter of seconds. And I click and I change my project. If I click on the change project, I will be able to spot LW webinar. And when I click on the LW webinar, I will be able to start now my tests. I see that operator is there. I see that my configuration that we've done is the ISO 11801 is there with PoE. Configuration is shielded cable, and the different cable IDs that, let's say I've imported 100 cable ID, they are here waiting for me. So now the moment I click on home, I'm ready to go and start testing. And that's how quick you can configure a test or project. Now, Werner has been doing in the background a project that we call it, I will minimize this one now. So the project name was a New Life Hospital. It has multiple configuration and multiple setups that we have. So now I would need to ask Werner, since he's staying away from me, to synchronize his results. Werner, are we synchronizing, please, from your side? So you can see here I have 2 out of 1,320 tests were completed yesterday, but I need to see how much Werner has been doing today to know if he's progressing as per the plan that we need to have. Are we doing the right configuration in terms of project planning? Am I supposed to be testing 200 links, 100 links a day? This is thing that I will do from my side. I'm waiting for Werner to confirm that the synchronization has been complete. And then we will be able to see the configuration online. So the upload of the result is sequential upload. So if I do a test yesterday for 100 links, they will be uploaded yesterday if I did the synchronization. And if I did today another 100, I will only upload the new 100. I will not upload the old ones. So they are already on Linkware Live. There's no need unless there's a change in the tests. So Werner, can you confirm if the links
are synchronizing?
Synchronizing.
Live
so
photo, tier 1, tier 2.
So I see here 11 out of, did you finish the synchronization?
Now it's finished.
Okay, so let me do another refresh. So from the moment he finished this synchronization, I did only a refresh and I see 11 tests. So remember they were 2, now they are 11. That means there has been 9 new tests that has been done. And if I click on it, I see that 7 tests out of 300 were done, last updated April 29, okay? And here the 4 tests out of 100 were done, and the remaining part of this project has not been tested. So I can see clearly with a pie chart, how is my project progressing? And the total project is only 1% because of the number of tests that Werner has been doing. So this, as you can see, as fast as it can be, he clicked on sync, it took a minute to upload, and then we have all the data in front of us on the cloud. So that's the visibility that we want you to see. So if I click on that particular project to see what he has done, then if I filter by the pass, show me the passing links and apply, I will be able to see what are the links that he passed. When he did the tests, he did on April 29 at 150, and we see all the parameters. And if I need to look one by one, I will be able to see those details. And good thing you can see here, remember his tester was within the calibration limit. You can see here a green flag that during the test, the tester was in calibration mode. So that's also another way to spot if your tester is within the calibration and it is working in a good condition. So that's the thing that I wanted also to share with you. So that's a general overview over the operation, but that's not the whole thing, because now, remember, we had the labeling and the consolidation of the results were the most problematic areas. Now, Fluke Networks have been building a lot of cooperation in the cabling ID with labeling printers. So nowadays, with the cable ID that we have synchronized with Linkware Live, we have them already there on the cloud. So if you have any of the current machines that we are cooperating with, whether it's a Brother or Epson or Dymo, we can connect our Linkware Live to those labelers so they can download from Linkware Live the cable IDs with a mouse click. Also, we have Brady that is being added recently to the configuration, and that means we have 4 different types of machines, a labeling machine that you can use to help print your labels with use of Linkware Live. That's what we call the ecosystem of our cable testing partners, and to help you in the field perform a lot faster than before. Now it's the time for the last poll. If you don't mind to share the last poll so that we get the last answers before we get into the final slides of the presentation. So how often are you required to submit your test results for project completion warranty claim? So that's a very tricky question, because depends on which country you are, sometimes which type of project, but how often do you see this request happening? So we see the leader is I have to submit regularly, which is eventually expected. So almost 50% of the answers there. So I'll be thankful if we can get most of our audience to answer. That would be great. So, you know, that's the thing. When you submit for warranty, if you do the right thing, you get the right things done. So the beauty of Linkware Live is that not only it gets your results in, but it allows you to integrate many other functionalities into sharing your results to other people, which you will see it in a bit, and getting more control over your results on the field. So I think we should be ready to finalize the poll. So I think we can finish the poll now, with the majority of the people stating that I have to submit regularly, and I do submit a few, while a few others are saying I'm not required to submit. Again, it depends on the site condition, depends on the customer, depends on countries. Sometimes it's a mixed mode, but always go back to your consultant and your what we say to the end user to know if they need the warranty, so that you won't get a surprise at the end of the project. So the reporting, as many of you probably have been using Linkware PC. Now Linkware Live and Linkware PC are hand in hand joining together. So if you are in the field uploading results to Linkware Live, you can see them on the laptop or tablet or phone, and you can download them with also a mouse click to Linkware PC, where you can share those results to the consultant, to the end user, or whoever parties that are involved in the testing. The beauty of it, even on Linkware Live, we can generate a test report that generate a PDF file from Linkware Live, which will be sent to you by email, and you can get an email with a PDF file with a certificate with all the test results as a kind of an update that this system works perfectly. So integration, Linkware Live, Linkware PC is there to help you do things right. So at the end of the day, if you need to download the full Fluke file, that's the right way to do it. The last part of the presentation is the interaction. So if imagine you are in a project where you have multiple contractors and multiple vendors and multiple configuration. You have, let's say, in a campus of multiple buildings, you have building one with a certain level of configuration and cable IDs, project building two, another cable IDs and another configuration. Let's say one would be Cat 6A, another would be a data center with category 8, and another one fiber for something. And then each one is coming from a different vendor. And guess what? The vendors needs to be knowing what's happening. And also you might have also consultants that are overlapping consultants between the projects. So that's kind of collaboration that you need to do while you have all in control over Linkware Live. You can create all those projects or sub-projects, we call them, and then you move those sub-projects into accesses to different external people. So you have your own team who are doing the internal access and collaboration, but you might need to invite external people to have a look at those projects and see what's going on with those projects. And that's where we, in terms of Fluke Networks, we can allow this collaboration. Let's say this project in particular, you want the team of Reichel to get into it, the R&M team, and 2 consultants to see what's going on, or could be 1 consultant or 1 end user. All of them have the access. So you can do that in a few clicks over the Linkware Live, and doesn't take any complex configuration to do. All of that again in a mouse click. So use Linkware Live for these kind of things to help get the best out of the system. Now, as a conclusion, for us, Linkware Live helps us to prevent configuration mistakes. That's for sure. That's the most important part of it. It allows also to know the scope of work. So if you know the right scope of work from the project managers or the planners, you know how to configure it, and you can send it to the tester with minimal mistakes. So we help prevent gaps, duplicates, and uncertainties in the consolidation. So if you have the testers from different places, they can all connect to Linkware Live, and the data will be furnished and sent to Linkware Live, and all the data will be consolidated there. And help to monitor the progress of your work, so that you can see if every day you need to progress on a certain pace. You can track if that pace is going well or not, or if there is any lack of teams that you need to improve, you need to send more team to the field. All those decisions can be done after looking at Linkware Live results as you see them. And also allows you to integrate more people and manufacturers into the process, so that you can allow them to see or to configure particularities in the configuration. And I've had a conversation with one of the vendors. The guy is in Dubai and the project is in another country, and he's always asking particular customers to share those projects to him so he can get a look at those projects as they progress into the project, so that they won't face at the end of the project, at the time of the warranty, problem in the field. So that's why we call it the ecosystem. It is a certification ecosystem. That's where Fluke Networks is good at. So for more information, please go and visit linkware-live.com. There's a lot of area in the help to get you into trainings, videos, documentation on how to do things. We have our tech team who is also attending with us. I didn't introduce Ricardo because he joined us a little late during the presentation, but Ricardo is also one of our core technical team with our technical assistance center. We have a team who can help you answer all those questions. And we are here as Fluke Networks team member to help answers and support you with your integration or implementation of Linkware Live. So as a part of my closing, we are, as Fluke Networks, running a fiber for all activity and promotion. For us, we have reconsidered a lot of pricing during a period of time till mid of June. So if you are in need or in consideration to acquire a new tester, please have a chat with us, have a chat with our distributors. We'll be more than happy to inform you about those prices and what we're doing with those promotions and how we can support you even during those hard times in the epidemic. Thank you for your time. And I think I ran by the clock in 2 minutes extra. So I will leave the time for the questions and answers if we have, and gents, mics all can be open. Thank you very much. And let's answer some questions.
Well, yeah,
yes.
Thank you. Well, yeah, some questions were answered, but yeah, so we will answer it just on the recording so the others can benefit from that also.
Yeah.
So is it, first question, is it possible to use multiple devices for a single project?
Yes, you can do multiple projects. You can have a project with multiple devices. You can have that configuration easily done. So what you need to do, if you have, let's say, one project with 4 testers, you sign in with that username that you have over the Versiv to the Linkware Live. And then when you sync, you select the project. So if it will be the same project, you can download all those projects. Now, could be something that as a project manager, you might segregate the projects to say, like, building 1, I would like tester 1 and 2 to do it, and building 2, tester 3 and 4 to do it, still within the same configuration like what we saw in New Life Hospital. And then you can ask the people in the field, you are in project for building 2, you only download the project for building 2. Don't download the other projects because you will not go and test there. So this allows multiple testers to work in the field and multiple teams to work in the field.
On the same trend, also someone asked, can you combine copper and fiber in one project? Can you set it up?
Yes, we can do that. And that's where, again, if I go back to New Life Hospital, as we see it now, if I go to the test setups, you will see that this is a project with multiple buildings, with 5 buildings, 1,200 links and 600, I think, or 400 fiber links. You can see that the whole project, New Life Hospital, has a Cat6 configuration. And what are the sub-projects linked to it? Building 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the fiber configuration was set to OM4. And this is a fiber configuration. So to answer, yes, you can do it. And you can have multiple configurations based on your need. You might have also an additional configuration for category 8, let's say in the data center, or a single mode for particular links. You can have multiple configuration as much as you want.
I want to add, even you can configure your tester without, for fiber, for example, without having the fiber module.
Yes.
So you don't need to have a physical fiber tester in your hand to be able to configure it upfront.
That's what I'm doing now. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I have only the mainframe. I don't have any module with me. So where you saw I did my synchronization is with a tester without a module. So it's irrespective of the module that you have. You can have the copper module and you can configure fiber on it. You can have no module and you still can configure. So the beauty of the flexibility of the Versiv, it allows you to do everything you need whenever you need, no limitations.
Yeah, there is another question. Can you share the compatible labeling machines or printers with our Linkware Live?
Yes, so those details will be on our Linkware Live website. We have, as I said before, we have a few machines. Let me go back quickly. Okay, and then we have it here. So we have the Brother, we have the Dymo, we have the Epson, and the Brady. For more information about exact models, please refer to our Linkware Live webpage. And if you have more clarification, send us an email and we will have ourselves or our support to help you with the models that are integrated as well.
Yeah, a few questions around warranty. What if the tester is out of calibration? So will it still give a pass, and will the manufacturer accept it? Yes or no?
So out of warranty means that's warranty is something else. So warranty is not related to Linkware Live. It's part of the hardware support. But for calibration, if the unit is out of calibration, you will be able to see what I'm seeing here, and I will share with you a project that we've done a test without calibration. It is done with our demo units, since we are owning demo units that are not allowed to be calibrated. So we can immediately spot that. And I can show you a test result that we have it here. And so this test was done, let's say, forget about the date, but it was tested in 2016, while the calibration date of the machine was 2013. And you have an immediate flag next to it. It's past the recommended calibration date. So Linkware Live help you spot that if your tests were done out of the calibration date. You will be able to see it, and you will be able to spot it. But also, if it will be approved by the manufacturers, this is not in our control. It is back to the manufacturer if they will approve for warranty these kind of tests. But I can tell you, all the top vendors of the world, if they see the unit out of calibration, the first reaction will be a no-go. So please reach out to your manufacturer if you have a certain condition. Let's say a few days out of the calibration, if the machine went out of the calibration, reach out to those vendors and take their approval, because you need that from their side. We are testing, we provide the test, we record the results, and we share it to them and to you. And who takes the final approval on warranty or not, it's the manufacturers of the cabling system.
Yeah. So I think the underlying question was, you still get a pass. The test is passing,
yes,
but the calibration is not within the yearly calibration interval. It's not giving a fail.
Yeah, and you could be lucky if you get a pass. Like here, and we know our demo units are not heavily executed in the sites, but you might have problems with the machines that if you have a problem in the machine, you might get a failing pass. So it shows a pass, but it's a fail because the tester, the chipsets inside the tester are not working correctly.
Yeah, another question. So can we give different authorities for different job roles to see different readings? Yeah. To
see different readings, no, but you can give authority for users to have a viewer only or admin role or manager role. So if I need to add any particular user today, if it is an internal, I have a tech role where the tech role cannot change anything in the configuration, a manager who can do the configuration at his side. Like what we have here, Werner is a manager. From his side, he can log into my account as an organization, and he can create a project, delete information that he sees reasonable when he needs it. So that's the access that you get from managing the projects. Now, when it comes to the results collaboration, you can give them access to view only, so they can only view results, or they can have administrative rights over those results as well. So again, we have the two types of roles, depends on what you need to achieve from this kind of sharing information.
Yeah, another question, if we don't have a Wi-Fi in the site, so can we use an Ethernet connection?
Yes, definitely, because the tester has you can see on the tester here, you have an Ethernet connection on the side, and you can connect an Ethernet port to it, and that would be the wired connection instead of the wireless connection. We understand sometimes we have sites in remote areas where even GSM might not be reaching, or there's a jam or barred GSM operations. If you have a wired connection, connect the wire and you sync the data.
Can you please sample of creating a sub project? Yeah, so not sure.
That will take a little time, but I can quickly show it here while we go into the sub project. While you can ask another question, I will be doing it.
Yeah.
So in New Life Hospital, I'm creating. I have all those projects. Let's say I'm being asked to add a new building. So new building, and then I can put the location, start date, and all the stuff. So let's say start date today. Next date is after the 12th of April, 12th of May. Save. Take the cable IDs. Where are the cable IDs? Let's say data 001 to data 148, and then test report 68 generic, and then next. And then as you see, I have created the sub-projects. I will go into back to the sub-project, and you can see a new building created. So whatever I have, I can add to my current project if I need to add some more. So that's the new building has been there. Now, if Werner clicks on synchronization on his tester, he will see new building in his popping up. So that's how quick things can go. I think it took less than a minute to do it. Knowing what I need to know.
I think the last but not least, Linkware will support other testers other than Versiv.
At the moment, Linkware Live has been made only for Versiv, and I don't think there's a plan to do anything beyond Versiv. So it is meant to connect the family of Versiv from a DSX 5000, 8000, CertiFiber Pro, OptiFiber Pro, FI 1000, FI 3000. So we have all the different equipments in the field that can connect from a certification point of view. The other equipments that we have are not certification. That's why they are not part of this project. So Linkware Live, in short, is meant for certification projects, which is part of the Versiv family.
Or other brands, of course.
Yeah, definitely. It's Fluke Networks, no other brands, please. We don't recognize any of those.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Wael. Yeah.
With pleasure. So you guys have our email addresses in the invitations and also during the course of this presentation. If you still have any questions, any clarifications, we're always there to help you for direct one-on-one webinars, sessions, presentations, to the best we can to support you remotely as possible at the moment. But as soon as things will ease up, we will be able also hopefully to support you physically in your offices or in your sites as well. So, and no more questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Ricardo, thanks Werner, thanks Salah, and thanks for